first, but just so you know.
Is this
Welcome to
okay?
pre-show.
Yeah, it will be. And
We're
when
talking.
you sit,
We're talking about
just
Las
make
Vegas.
sure those two left legs.
Did you
mark up
send me
with
a?
those
Did you send me a
tape.
link?
Gotcha.
I'm about to.
Okay. So for me, I really like the sportsbook's my favorite thing, and I also really like playing blackjack. And there's good food, and I don't know. There's a fun vibe. I don't know. I'm getting that itch. It's been about a year since I've been, so
Yeah, I haven't.
I'm getting that itch. You should go. Well, I mean, obviously with your gig, it's problematic.
Yeah. I haven't taken a vacation, and I think that the last vacation I took was to drive to Podunk, Arkansas to go to a wedding. But
Ugh. See, and that's the other thing. Because how old are you?
28.
Okay. So you are, because I'm 29, Max is 150. And,
Give or take.
but I feel like from the time that you're about 23, let's call it 23, starts earlier for some, later for others, until you're about 28 to 29, you go on a lot of vacations, but they're just not vacations
Right.
because you're going to all these weddings.
Right.
I feel like that is.
Luckily, see, I went to a Southern Baptist high school, and I was in a Christian fraternity, so I kind of knocked all the marriage stuff out within about the first 2 years
Yeah.
of college. It was a marathon. I went to, I think the year after college, I went to 22 weddings.
Good Lord.
And I was in 9 of them.
Jeez. That's a lot of weddings.
That's probably like my career. Like 22 weddings. How many weddings do you think you've been to?
I'd say a dozen. Dozen sounds right.
A dozen. Probably been 15.
I've been to one.
Well, how old are you?
22.
Right.
Yeah.
You are.
You're about to
enter
the danger
tsunami,
zone.
okay? Because it comes and it is.
You can't stop it.
You can't stop it. Because
No.
here's the thing. You're going to get a wedding invitation. Like in the next year, you'll get a wedding invitation. And you will go, oh, wow, cool. Hey, my buddy
I gotta go to a
Drew
wedding.
is getting married.
Yeah.
That's cool. And then you're going to get another one. And be like, oh, okay, hey, Amy's getting married. That's neat. I'll get another one.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. I guess I got to go to Lexington, Kentucky, and do. Oh, what's this? Oh, you're getting married in Hilton Head. Oh, okay. I guess you're going. Oh, wait. Now there's another one in town, and
Yeah.
there will be about a 4-year stretch of your life where it feels like every third weekend you have a wedding.
See,
If I could go back in time,
Oh, yeah.
I would have a rule. I would narrow down like my top 10 friends. And I'd go to those weddings, and the rest of them I'd be like,
So the
send a gift and your regrets.
See, I do that. I just send a really nice gift and don't go to a lot of them.
You do it.
Like last summer,
See,
we
go to most.
were living in Connecticut, just outside New York City, and we get invited to 7.
Uh-huh.
That was our worst year, like as far
7.
as how many.
I think
2, we just said we can't. Like 3 of them were in Texas, 1 was in Vermont,
Well,
and
the other thing
the other
about
one was somewhere else crazy, and it was just
it's the financial part of it.
Yeah.
That you got to fly all these places, and I mean, look, if you have a wedding in Dallas,
yeah.
or if I can drive to it, if it's in
Yeah.
Austin, or if it's in Houston, okay, like I'll more often than not suck it up and go.
Yeah.
But like I don't, and the problem is I've still got. Jen's got a brother, and I've got 2 brothers,
Yeah.
neither of which are married, which
Yeah.
means I've got at least 3 more coming down the pike. You
Yeah.
think?
Yeah.
Or let's say
Both
at
of my
least 2 more.
brothers still aren't married. Yeah.
Oh.
the spring after I got out of school, I was an usher in my cousin's wedding. He was my same age. I went to high school with. We're really close, so I had to go to that. And then one of my really good buddies from school asked me to be an usher in his wedding that night. So I was at Prestonwood Baptist for my cousin's wedding at like 1. They had the reception just there at the church after. I stayed for about 10 minutes. I was in a tux for that one. They just had suits and ties for the other one. I asked them, can I just wear my tux
Yeah.
and change the shirt? So I drove over there, got to the church. it's the first time I'd ever seen that taking the pictures before
Wedding.
the wedding.
Yeah.
And so when I rolled in, they're already taking pictures, and I went, when was the wedding? When
Yeah,
was
you missed the wedding.
And then
Yeah.
so I walked. I'm like, am I good? They're like, yeah. So I changed my shirt, put on a different tie. I'm the only one wearing like a tux with like a normal shirt and a tie.
Yeah.
And
See,
it's just weddingzilla.
so last year, I guess it was. Yeah. We went to. I was an usher.
Hey,
in a
Bingham, will you
wedding.
shut the door?
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
I was an usher in a wedding over in Highland Park. At that, I guess the one that's right near SMU, right near the stadium.
Park Methodist.
Highland Park Methodist. Really pretty wedding. Saturday night, and it was the same night as Allen Skyline going on at Ford. So traffic was a joke. And
Yeah.
the other thing is that like they're doing the wedding and you can hear a 17-yard run by Tyler Murray. And what's funny is they're up there doing it and I'm trying to like listen.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I think Skyline's up. I think they're driving.
Yeah.
Can
Skyland do it?
I've gotten to the point with some of these weddings, like I had to go to one when a couple weeks ago, the Kansas State game, TCU Kansas State.
Yeah.
And so it was like a cousin. It was just a small wedding that no one was. So I'm in the back and I'm just like, I don't even care anymore. I just had my phone I'm like this, just like wedding, okay. Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm really, really glad I am past that.
Yeah.
Like I'm over the hump. There's still going to be some. There's
Yeah.
still going to be the trickling, the ones that trickle in. But, you know, like I know that I've got like 2 buddies who are probably going to get married.
Soon.
Yeah, next 2 years.
But
But
like
it's
next-
2 as opposed to like
Yeah.
18.
We've got 1 next year so far. No, 2.
See,
And the hilarious part is 2 weddings next year, April, 1 week apart.
see, I played around. I'm pretty much over that hump too. But I've been dating my girlfriend for 2 years, who's 25.
Yeah.
And so she's right in the thick. So now I'm
You're
Catching all her friends.
I was
Yeah.
going to say, if you were going to announce something, I was going to say the mics are hot. So, no, yeah, you did it wrong. That's because you're getting double duty then.
Well, but you also did it right.
Yeah.
No, what? Getting younger than
Younger girl.
Getting younger than
Yeah.
Jen's older than I am. My tiny wife is
Older than you?
3
Yeah.
months.
Mine-
5 months. February, June.
Carrie is 5 months older than me.
That's weird.
This is
It's weird.
it's getting weird.
I too have a beard, so just the similarities keep on going.
Yeah, I really did it wrong because she went to tech, but
Oh,
you know.
my God. Mics are hot.
Nothing I haven't said to her face.
Greg and I were joking. Not
You
5
can hop in that
sets.
chair, by the way.
Yeah, go ahead and
We don't need
get
to.
ready.
Yeah,
We're
go
about
get-
2 minutes out. We were joking because we tweeted the announcement that you're coming on or whatever, and one of the Baylor conspiracy theorists comes on.
One of my fans.
Oh, Gary Patterson magazine in the background.
No, I tweeted
Baylor
something
voodoo
different.
doll
I tweeted
buried
about
under
how
the
in
desk.
the video it looks like, yeah, because Gary's over here.
Art's over
but
there.
Art's gonna be front and center between us.
Yeah.
as
That's
we're
true. Yeah.
as we're talking.
He's gonna be
Staring at
watching
me.
you, arms
Yeah.
crossed. Make
Yeah.
sure you're behaving.
He will not
You
be
tweeted,
happy.
you tweeted this out?
Yeah, and then there'll be another one that's coming down. It's scheduled to go off in about a minute, so
that's-
it'll be you'll be
that's-
tagged in
I
that
like
too.
that.
Oh
So-
yeah,
so-
man,
so
dude,
Texas-y.
we are thankful for any guest we get.
Oh, dude,
I
seriously.
need to
Yeah.
save that. I like that.
By the way, I have DM'd once again our hopefully
Our
special
hopeful
guest
guest.
tomorrow.
Do we have a backup plan?
We don't, not
Okay.
yet. So we should probably start.
I'll pick it.
Yeah.
So we should.
We should talk about
probably-
our backup plan.
We should talk.
We'll let Travis know who our secret. Well, actually, here. Mike's closed briefly. Open.
Which would be awesome if President Obama was able to make
Yeah.
time for us.
I wonder if he'll get back to us. Yeah.
I can DM him.
Phone is off.
All right, there you go. The new one just fired. If you want to put the link and hashtag
right.
GoFrogs and let's rock and or roll.
All right. Closing.
Yes, y'all. It is DCTF Live. Woo! For a Thursday, October 29th, 2015. Episode 9, if you're keeping score at home. My name is Greg Tepper, managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football and TexasFootball.com. To my right, with the computers and the microphones and the... You do a lot in this show. That's Matt Thompson. That's his name.
I do many things.
Yeah, I feel like my job is to sit here and talk into the microphone, and your job is to do that, plus like 80 other things.
Plus try to make sense of the incoherence you spout.
Thanks, man.
No problem.
Do you think that we've hit the over on the over-under of how many shows people thought we would do?
I don't think enough people were paying attention to make a bet anyway.
Oh, and at the beginning, they were probably like, ooh, I don't know. Yeah.
Probably not.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Got a fun show on deck today.
Really big show.
Really big show. We're going to be talking Texas high school football sleepers. We heard from the masses who were very upset.
Your buddy Shay,
who were
not
very
happy.
upset that we tabled that. But we will get to that. I promise we will get
Are we starting with that or are we finishing with that?
Let's finish with that because I don't want to keep our special in-studio guests
Is someone
waiting.
here?
Somebody is here. Somebody is here. And that somebody, you know him, you love him. It's Travis Brown of the Fort Worth Star-Telegram, the man with the plan with TCU.
I never have a plan. What are you talking about?
Now, do you? I am interested in this. You are almost always credited as Travis L. Brown. 2 questions.
All right.
1, why? And 2, what's the L stand for?
It's a secret that I'll take to my grave. And,
okay, I like that.
No.
Homer J. Simpson.
No, I'm going to actually throw my girlfriend under the bus again because she never can remember my middle name. She always thinks it's Lee, even though she's a huge Star Wars fan, and the new Star Wars movie is coming out.
Is
and
it
she
really?
sees it's Luke.
Luke.
Yeah, it's and in case you haven't heard, I'm sorry to spoil that for you, but the new Star Wars movie's coming out.
What?
Yeah, man.
Spoiler alert.
But
Wow.
the L, no, because my dad's name is Jack Brown, and that's like the most simple of all names. Brown is just a simple name. No one, like when I played sports all my life, I wasn't Brown. No one called you Brown. I was T Brown or whatever. And so that's just a simple name. Google searches, you getting your name out there.
See, I don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
Tepper, nobody wants that name.
I don't know, man.
My wife was like, I guess I'll take your name.
But Brown, I mean, that's like that's like the next step up from Smith, or
I guess I get it. I understand.
Yeah.
Of course, you are the man with the plan as far as TCU is concerned. TCU plays tonight at Amon G. Carter. They take on West Virginia. When you look at this TCU team, we've talked so much and we've heard so much about how they're getting healthier. As somebody who's watched them from day one, can you tell that they're getting healthier?
Yes. I think the pieces that they're missing that they're not going to get back are huge. So it's not going to get back to that baseline. I think that more so even than healthier, it's developing the inexperienced players that are coming in, and I can see that. I mean, even this week in the press conference, Patterson said that he's finally able to kind of use the whole of his defensive playbook, just because he was having to keep it extremely simple, extremely vanilla to get these kids who he always his line this year is kids that run for. He's had kids that are linebackers that run a 5.0 that. Play like they run a 4.5, and these kids run a 4.5, and they're playing like they run a 5.0.
Right.
And so they're kind of getting them down to where he wants them to be on that.
He needs more Tank Carters, basically.
Yeah, more Tank Carters, more just all those linebackers that are in the NFL.
Yeah, the guys who were so critical to TCU kind of getting to the status that they were before they joined the Big 12. Who on the defense? Because that was the big question coming in. Who on the defense has stood out to you and maybe overachieved your expectations?
I think it's got to be Traven Howard, and that's a guy that didn't even step in until the second game. I mean, he's one of those 2 linebackers that were safeties coming into the season, moved him to linebacker, and he's just shown his versatility because not only did he step in and kind of stand out as maybe the top linebacker that they have, and a guy who, as a sophomore, is calling in the plays and calling in the signals. He's the guy that...
Whoa. Are we?
We're still good.
For those
Keep
listening on the
rolling.
podcast, the lights just flickered.
The lights just flickered off.
Thomas, did you do that? Did our intern do that?
Yeah, we'll blame the
he's
intern.
just submarining
I have,
everything.
I think cross-armed
no idea
Art
what-
over here
Yeah,
has something to say about
Art
that.
Briles is not pleased with this
No,
conversation.
No, but
Arms crossed, unhappy. Here go your lights.
yeah.
Sorry, man. I'm
So,
sorry, go on.
Yeah, but no, Traven Howard's the guy who stepped in, and then even when Denzel Johnson last week got sent off for targeting, he actually moved back to safety and was able to do what he does at safety. He plays nickel and dime in some packages for them, so he has a lot of versatility. And then Nick Orr, a guy from DeSoto from around here, is a guy that stepped in who also has a lot of versatility. They wanted him at free safety. He practiced through fall camp at both cornerback and free safety, and he had to move into cornerback with Anthony Tejada going down and whatnot, and has done a pretty decent job for the versatility and the kind of split practices he's had to have the whole season.
He's Travis Brown, Travis L. Brown. Follow him on Twitter at Travis_L_Brown. Talking TCU, West Virginia. When you look at this West Virginia team, they come in missing, in my opinion, their best player in Carl Joseph. That was a real shame as somebody who just enjoys watching good football players play good football. It was a shame to hear him go down. What does this West Virginia team look like without him, especially defensively?
Well, the most interesting thing that I see from West Virginia defensively is the fact that we're running that 3-3 kind of offense. They have the 5 defensive backs, and really looking at their offense compared to what TCU has going into theirs, it's something they've run against 5 defensive backs, and there's a lot of schools that don't run against 5 defensive backs. So I think not only is that going to help a little bit against TCU's high-powered, fast-moving offense, a lot of wide receivers, a lot of guys to cover, I think it'll help West Virginia's offense, too, going through that 5 defensive back look that a lot of schools have to adjust to a little bit when they prepare for TCU. So I think that the key in that is those 5 defensive backs, because that's not a look that either it's good for both of the offenses that are coming out there.
Offensively for TCU going into this game, is there a spot where you feel like they have an advantage over West Virginia's defense?
Josh Doxson.
Well, yeah.
I've yet to see. I've kind of been hesitant with him because I've just been waiting to see when there's that one team that would double cover him or just kind of lock him down that one game, and it hasn't happened yet, and it'll be interesting to see. I think this is one of the better defenses that TCU will face all season, so it'll be interesting to see what they can do against Josh Doxson. But especially in that last play, I've talked to some other people about this game, and what comes down to is, can West Virginia's defense – this is going to be a close game. They're all close games against West Virginia. It's going to come down in the end. Can West Virginia's defense make that one defensive stop on that one play that the ball is going to be going to Josh Doxson to pick up a 4th down or score a touchdown or something like that, and actually put the nail in the coffin? And I think West Virginia is as good of a team and a good of a defense that they could do that, but no one has proven that they can do that yet with Josh Doxson.
The Frogs have, of course, played two close for comfort games, against Kansas State, and the other one was who'd they play with their food with against?
It was the other Texas Tech.
Texas Tech. Both games very close. Came down to the wire. Came down to 4th quarter making plays.
Hey, Iowa State for 1/2, buddy.
Sorry, bud. We got our Iowa State homer over here. Is there reason for concern for TCU fans, the fact that they've had 2 close calls?
I mean, I think once you see that you have 5 defensive starters go down within the first 3 or 4 games, as far as I've been able to read the temperature, I think expectations have changed a little bit. I don't think it's that – I think that everyone is expecting them to not knowing what's going to happen, and if they squeak out of a game, they squeak out of a game because, I mean, they're running a 4-7. They don't really technically have linebackers. They have guys who are playing linebacker, but they're not going to go up against a huge back and do necessarily as well as they could be right now. So I think expectations are a little bit lower than first thought, but I don't know. I think that I think that you get that feeling when you go into games from the fan base on Twitter and whatnot that everyone's a little bit hesitant and a little bit scared at any game that TC goes into now. But then there's this outrage when they fall in the polls, and so I don't know how well those two mesh because eye test TCU hasn't done as well as Baylor or some of these other schools that have gotten ranked above them because of the defense, but they've gotten the job done. So.
The bend don't break, and Gary Patterson, of course, gets the benefit of the doubt. Looking forward, and obviously West Virginia is going to provide a tough test tonight. We'll get to your prediction here in a minute, but looking forward, I feel like there are three, depending on how you feel about Oklahoma State, but there's two games that are super intriguing to me because of what's happened recently. Going to Norman and playing Oklahoma, a suddenly just angry Oklahoma team, and then obviously the day after Thanksgiving or the night after Thanksgiving at home against a Baylor team that suddenly doesn't have their quarterback. Is the Baylor game still the tougher game, or is going to Norman, do you think, tougher?
I would even argue going to Stillwater.
Yeah.
2 weeks before that that could easily, if you're looking for a stumbling block, that could easily be the stumbling block. TCU has not played well in the past past 3 years in the Big 12 in Stillwater, and that is a team that certainly could exploit TCU's inexperienced defense a little bit. I think if you're trying to get excited for one of these games, I just don't think you can necessarily get excited for that Baylor game as far as TCU's standpoint before they get through that Oklahoma gauntlet, because but the Big 12 is so hard to look at this year because going up into this point, I thought that they're not going to get out of Norman. They're not going to get out of Norman with a win. But then you see what Texas does to Oklahoma a week after just getting thrashed by TCU in Fort Worth, and you think, well, there is a weakness here. Someone can do it. Someone who doesn't have the same kind of talent that TCU can do it. So I still think it's going to be extremely tough to get out of Norman. But here's the deal. If you look back at it, TCU has a history of going in with a team that people might have thought was lesser and taking care of business in Norman.
Mm-hmm.
They don't really have that history in Stillwater.
Yeah, that's true.
And so I might be leaning a little bit more towards Stillwater being the one.
Interesting. He's Travis L. Brown. Follow him on Twitter at Travis_L_Brown. One last question before we let you go. Your prediction for tonight, West Virginia, TCU, what do you got?
You can't have it just seems like you can't have a West Virginia TCU game with it coming down to the
very end. You can't have like a normal 38-27 game.
No.
It's going to be something
There's going to be like 4 targeting penalties and random rainstorm and just
it's the beginning of Halloween weekend.
Exactly.
Here we
There's
go.
a blackout.
Yeah.
Everything crazy happens in a blackout. So it's going to come down to the wire. It's going to come down to the fourth quarter. It's going to come down to that team that has the ball last. Simply from what I said earlier, I'm going to give the edge to TCU because no one has proven that they can stop Trayvon Boykin and Josh Doxson when they have that ball at the end of the game and they have to pick up that first down or they have to get the ball into the end zone to score that game winner. And then give a little bit of a tip of cap to the kicker Jaden Overcrome, who took care of business last year and is a really, really good kicker from distance. So I think it's going to be close. I think that final score is going to come from TCU.
I think if the game were in Morgantown, I think this would have a different feel. But I think being at home on a Thursday night from what should be a pretty raucous Amon G. Carter Stadium, I do think the TCU comes away with the win.
The other thing, too, we talk about joking, lots of targeting penalties and shenanigans. Expect a lot, possibly, of trick plays, going for it on fourth down, fake punts, because both teams have had a bye week, and both of these offensive we have Dana on West Virginia side and Cumbie and Meacham. They like to pull out a little bit of trickeration, and with a week and a half to plan it, expect it.
There's going to be something crazy going on. He's Travis L. Brown, the 4-Star Telegram. Follow him on Twitter at Travis_L_Brown, and check out his fine work at star-telegram.com, right?
Yep, that's it.
Got it. Thanks, Travis. Appreciate you, bud. There he goes. I like this game, this TCU West Virginia game. I think it could be interesting. I like that I'm just turning away from him as if he's just like, you don't even exist to me anymore.
I'm still here.
Thanks. I'm just going to hang around, guys, if that's okay. You're welcome to hang around and talk about high school football sleepers if you want, because that's where we're going next.
We can have him weigh in.
Is there a high school football team that you don't think is getting the love that they deserve?
Oh man, a high school football team that's not getting the love that they deserve. Now that you put me on the spot.
Yeah. 'Cause I got 5 that I had time to think about.
Yeah, totally fair to do it this way.
Maybe Arlington Heights.
No, okay, we'll be a little bit. I mean, just as far as talent, and you'd be surprised at how well they play. Fort Worth South Hills.
Yeah.
They have a
Scorpions.
really, really good wide receiver in Tylen Wallace. They have Trey Jones, a guy who just stepped in like in fall camp because their quarterback got hurt, and
Tylen's brother.
yeah, and they're able to move the ball really efficiently. I mean, it's a Fort Worth ISD school, and it's gonna probably end the same way that it does for a lot of those schools. They'll make it to the playoffs, but I mean, I was really surprised at how well their offense was able to move the ball and that kind of talent that they had on that team. So maybe not a sleeper, but just interesting one to check out.
Okay.
See,
Good.
it was totally worth it.
Totally
We
worth
should
it.
keep him around for this
Okay.
segment.
Well, I got 5 sleepers that we tabled yesterday that I want to get to, and we'll start. I don't know which graphic you have up first.
But same order you gave me, so we're
okay.
starting
With A-Leaf
with
Taylor?
A-Leaf Taylor.
Down in the Houston area. I really like this Taylor squad. 6-2, and you look at their losses. Clear Creek, unbeaten.
Tough team.
Unbeaten. Fort Bend Hightower, unbeaten.
Yep.
So, I mean, and they've lost those 2 games. They kind of got smoked by Clear Creek, but they lost to Hightower last week by 3.
A lot
This
of
is
teams got smoked by Clear Creek. That's freaking offense is loaded.
And beyond that, what I love most about this Taylor team is defense, and they are bend don't break. They make big plays when it counts. I really like this defense. Of course, they can score. They can do what they need to, when it matters. But I mean, they held Hightower last week, and Nico Hollins at 243 yards. Their defense did enough. Sometimes their offense, like last week, kind of fails to show up. But they've got a guy who can run, a quarterback who can run, and Dante Warren. They run the ball with Iman Pote. I like this Taylor team because of their defense. I think that they're a big-time sleeper in the Houston area. They got 2 games against Austin and Clements that they should win, which means they're finishing 8-2, and they're looking really good heading into the playoffs. Matching up against District 24 won't be any sort of fun
Not the way you wanna
exercise for
start.
them. But
Not the way you want to
but I
start.
like this Lions team. I think A-Leaf Taylor's really solid. Let's bounce back up to the DFW area, okay? Let's bounce up to the DFW area.
Okay.
A team that just knocked off a previously unbeaten team. Yes, Frisco. And we talk about one-man teams. And Frisco is far from a one-man team because
But-
they've got a lot of other guys. But
But
let me tell you, if you're going to have one guy, might as well be Idris Ali. Okay? This running back is ludicrous. 234 carries on the year already, over 1,800 yards. He's averaging 8 yards a carry over 230 carries.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
pretty good.
I really like this
Pretty good.
team also because they've shown their defense has really improved of late. Their one loss was to Centennial by 4 in just a real shootout, 31-27, where they give up in overtime. They basically they kick a field goal in overtime. They give up a touchdown pass. Once you go to overtime, you never really know what's going to happen.
Right.
I like the way they play defense. I like that they've taken a step forward. They held an explosive Lone Star team last week. Granted, in the rain, but they held them to 288 yards. That's really, really impressive against a team with Jason Shelley that was just carving people up.
Yeah.
I like this Frisco team. They're probably going to win out. They're probably going to win the rest of their games, although they got a tough one this week against Wakeland. That's tonight, actually. But I like the way this team
As
play-
are many games that once
yes,
weren't.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I like the way this team plays defense. They're probably I'm picking them to beat Wakeland tonight. And when you've got that bell cow in Idris Ali, as long as he stays healthy, then they're going to go as far as he can take them.
Yeah.
I like this Frisco team a lot.
Okay.
Let's dip down to the small school ranks. And I love me some small school football. I love me some 4A football.
Okay.
The Center Rough Riders are a team that literally nobody is talking about. The quietest
It is the
7-1
quietest,
team.
No question.
You know what their one loss? You know who their one loss is to?
Tell me, Greg.
Wascom.
Wascom suddenly
You think Wascom's pretty good?
looks like a team full of nightmare fuel for
Right?
everyone else.
I mean, they've already beaten Garrison. They already
Yeah.
beat Jasper. They already beat a decent Hardin Jefferson team. They beat Atlanta like a drum last week. I like them. I like this Rough Riders team well coached Barry Bowman, the former Dangerfield man, who is, I mean, he knows how to win. He will take whatever you give him and turn it into a contender. And what's exciting about this center team is that they're doing it primarily with underclassmen. Their quarterback, Kyle Parks, is just a junior. Their top receiver, Evans, what's his first? Octavius Evans, a junior. Their defense, which has been stout all year, led by a bunch of underclassmen. This center team is here for the long haul. And you look at their district 6'4" AD2, and you start saying, hey, is anybody going to beat them? The answer is no. They've already beaten Atlanta. They've got Gladewater still on the docket, but they're probably going to be favored over them. I just think that this center team has a little something, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I don't know if I want to go full bore into it because I still think they may be a year away because they are so young.
Right.
But this center squad is really talented, really fun to watch, and when they get their quarterback out in space, whether he's throwing on the run, in Parks, whether he's throwing on the run or he's running the ball himself, he's fun to watch.
Right.
And when you have a dynamic playmaker like that, you've got a chance to do something special.
Well, now you're making me feel bad for not putting him in the
it's
482 top 10.
Now they do have a loss, and granted, it's a loss to a 3A team.
It's a very good team, though.
But it's a 3A team. It's
I've got
4A lose to a 3A team.
two lost teams right ahead of them. They're
Just-
basically 11th in my ranking.
You know what? If they win this week, then consider them. I would say I think yeah. I mean they're right there on the cusp when we talk about rankings.
I mean, the problem is the only two teams we have ahead of them are Lamarck. District-wise, they're not going to get much of a challenge.
Well, and especially, I mean, if they've got Worthing this week, Houston
Yeah.
Worthing, Lamarck does,
Yeah.
and if they beat Houston Worthing, then they're not going anywhere because
Yeah.
they're gonna finish the year ranked.
Right,
But who's
exactly.
the other team?
Belleville, 7-2, who's also had
It's a really good team.
Yeah,
It's a really good Belleville team with 2 good losses.
Yeah.
The other team, another sleeper. We're gonna dip way down south.
team a lot of people talk about, but not necessarily because of the team, because of their best player.
McAllen Memorial.
Yeah.
And I know what you're saying. Oh, Greg.
Don't try to talk me into a team from the south.
Don't try to talk me into a team from the valley.
Rio Grande Valley teams aren't going to make playoff runs, Greg.
And maybe you're right. If there is evidence to support anything, it is that McAllen Memorial will not make it past Valley Week when they play a San Antonio team. They won't.
Right.
But
But
they will have the single best player in every game
Yep.
they play.
Yep.
Okay? Because they've got Trevor Spates. And it's not just hype. And I know that this is a guy people have been talking about him since he was a freshman and all this fun stuff. He's already the Valley's leading rusher all time. It's not just hype. Look at his numbers this year.
the numbers are good.
169
Very good.
carries, 2,250 yards.
He makes
He's averaging
300-yard games look easy.
He's averaging 281 yards a game.
That's a bit.
He's nuts. And the other thing about it is this defense is really good.
Yeah.
It's really good. Sam Hinojosa, Jared Lara, Ricky Minor, this whole defense is excellent, giving up, basically a little more than 20 points a game. You can live with that.
Yeah.
When you've got
You
a bell
certainly
cow,
can.
until
Yeah.
somebody can slow down this big offensive line
Yeah.
and Trevor Spates,
Right.
they're dangerous. And
Yeah.
once they reach into the playoffs, let me see if I can pull up our most
I was about to
recent
ask
playoff-
you. I didn't want to put you on the spot, but who do you see being?
Let me see if I can pull up their
the
playoff
first
projections
big,
real quick.
big challenge for them.
Boop, 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 boop. Let's see. Okay. So,
Just a reminder: today's show brought to you by Ozarka.
yes,
While
our,
Greg looks that up.
our friends in Ozarka. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Let me pull up the bracket. They're going to go Division 1, which does not help their cause. But you're looking at
Why is 6A Division 1
right now here's our projection, okay? Right now here's our projection.
Okay.
They play Laredo United South in the opener, probably win that one.
Probably win that.
Play Los Fresnos in the second round, in the area round. That's not a pushover.
Not
Los
a
Fresnos ain't
pushover,
bad, but
you'd favor them.
you'd favor them.
For
And
sure.
then they get to Valley Week. And they draw San Antonio Reagan. And I like Reagan a lot.
Why couldn't they win that game?
That's a coin flip to me.
right.
because
two
it's-
exciting players on each team too.
And
with
then
Kellen Mond.
now if they get past that one, they'd probably play a team like Judson or somebody like that.
that's
But,
when things.
but at
get
that point they're in
really
the
tricky.
regional final. They're already past Valley Week.
Yeah.
And I wonder how much of that is mental. I wonder how much of that is
It's a fair question.
okay, this is when we always go out. I think this team has a chance to make a run. I think this McAllen Memorial team is legit.
Okay.
It's just me. Just me.
All right.
Okay. The other
One more.
Getting to one last one. Going to the Austin area. We mentioned him in Fixing to Pick 'em, which is going up on the site momentarily.
Yes.
Round Rock Cedar Ridge.
Yep.
A young squad, a young team that people still don't know a whole lot about. This defense is really, really good. They've really emerged. Their one loss was to a very good Round Rock team. But you take that one away, 13 points, 16 points, 6 points, 13 points, 14 points, 9 points. I mean, they
Pretty good.
play
Pretty
great
salty.
defense.
Yep.
Really good defense. And they're not relying on one guy. They've got a star in Garrett Sharp, their quarterback. But they can run the ball with CJ Rittenhouse. They can throw it to Eric Wade, Kadarius Daniels. They've got a lot of different weapons that if you want to grind it out and play a running first team game, we can do that. If you want to throw the ball, we can do that. I like the diversity on this team. I think they're well coached with Todd Ford. I just like this. I like the swagger they play with. And let me, since I've already got the projections up, let me look at where we've got them going. Okay, so we would have them playing. Boy, the biggest problem is that they draw 14-6A.
They draw 14-6A, and my only objection to your pick as them as a sleeper is, part of the reason they're 7-1 is that pre-district schedule. There's nothing there.
Maybe.
We're talking about wins over Canyon, San Antonio Johnson, Shoemaker, who you like.
I like Shoemaker. Their defense is really good.
And McNeil.
I know, but so here's my thing for them. If you want to argue,
McNeil was district, but still.
If you want to argue against them, you would say their path in the playoffs is really tough. And you'd be right.
Sure.
Because they play Austin Bowie almost certainly in the first round. Not fun. Then they play Klein Collins. That's not fun. And if they get past that, you know who they get? Skyline. Probably. I mean, so they would go through a murderer's row, but I think that they are a sleeper in Central Texas. This may not be the year that they break out and have that state championship run, but I really like this team.
I mean, but historically, teams from that district or the Round Rock area in general that play really great defense have pulled off some impressive upsets. I mean, Pflugerville against Lake Travis a few years ago is the first one that comes to mind. So it's not that crazy.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any sleepers that you want to shout out?
I was not prepared
to
bring in any sleepers. I will just say, though, after participating in the Statesman online chat last week where the Central Texas fans were like, you guys should rank Round Rock higher. I mean, Cedar Ridge has always been the better team.
Let me tell you,
but
Cedar Ridge has got
Ridge.
Hendrickson either tonight or tomorrow night.
That's a tough one.
And it's a real tough one. And I think that Hendrickson team is another one that you could lump into that sleepers. I think that whole district, 13-6A, we pay so much attention to 14 because of Westlake and Lake Travis.
It's very top
and
heavy.
It's very top heavy.
Yeah.
But as far as depth, I think 14-6A may be deeper. Or 13-6A rather. Because
you may be onto something there.
Round Rock, Hendrickson, Cedar Ridge, a lot of really, really good teams there. You get past that. Pflugerville's, always lurking. I think this has been a down year for them, but Stony Point's got pedigree.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just me. So that's our sleepers. Who are your sleepers? Get involved in the conversation. #DCTF Live. And that's going to do it for this episode, I think. I think we did.
It doesn't have to, Greg.
I know, but I'm hungry. Whenever this show ends, by the way, it's only because I'm hungry. It's only because I'm hungry. That's yesterday Max was like, "Hey, you should do sleepers today." And I was like,
but food.
But lunch. That's what the problem with doing a live show. So, it's going to do it for DCTF Live. Yeah. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's, and of course, check us out at texasfootball.com. Travis, thanks for joining us.
Always a pleasure.
Vince Young, please come get your Player of the Year trophy, and we will see you tomorrow on DCTF Live.